All right, we are live. We are live. Here we go. Sorry, I got a phone call right then and there. Of course, right when I go live, I get a phone call. So welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. Today, we're going to talk about a tricky topic. And I know this is like kind of an odd time of day, so I don't even know if anybody will be able to join for the live. But if you do and you have any questions or like something's on your heart, please go ahead and ask any questions that are on your heart or share any of your experiences, because this is like a real topic for women, is having peace. Hi, with our fertility. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. So I've been all over the place with this topic. I've had a lot of moments of just complete lack of peace with the either being pregnant or not being pregnant or wanting to be pregnant or just all that stuff. And now, like, I've really come to a place in my journey where I'm just so good either way. And I was talking to my friend recently about this, and she said, Lauren, go make a video about that because that's a little bit unique. So that's what I'm here to talk about. I want to talk about my story and just the different places I've been with this, and then how I came to have peace. And again, if you're just joining us, please announce yourself. I'm so glad you're joining us. And please ask any questions if something comes up, or share any experiences that you might have had with this topic. So with my first child, I was very young when I got married, right out of college, and it was young to me because I wanted to get married when I was 30. That was kind of what I thought it was gonna be. And so when I realized I was pregnant, like basically like 2 months after we were married, I was wigging out because I was just not ready for that. I felt like inequipped. We weren't settled in any way. I just was kind of scared, and I didn't feel like we didn't even have a job locked in for my husband. We had just moved, and I was really scared because, yeah, as you can imagine. And so, but I was excited still. I was really happy. So we went through that pregnancy, and yeah, he was awesome. Like, once you have a kid, it's not like you ever want to send them back, right? So that was great. But then about a year into that, I'm like, okay, this motherhood thing's kind of cool. But my little single child here is getting a little spoiled. He needs a brother. He needs a brother. So I actively was like bugging my husband, like, let's have a baby. Let's have a baby. Let's have a baby. And so it was like a lack of peace again, because I was like, I want a baby and I don't have a baby. And so it was just like a whole nother, oh, hello chickens. It was just a whole nother, yeah, like you always want what you don't have, or all that. So I was really frustrated that we didn't have a kid, a second child. And so at the time, I should back up a little bit. I was charting my cycle at the time. So I did know my fertile days and infertile days. And that's a whole nother topic for NFP that maybe we can get into now, maybe another video. But we no longer do NFP because it made me crazy, but we'll stop there. So with the second child, I knew when I was fertile, and it was like, this is the day, let's make it happen. And anyway, bad attitude. So finally, like, of course, we got pregnant because we're doing NFP, and NFP is really awesome, and you know exactly where you're at. And had the baby, and we were great. Well, then I thought I was good. I'm like, okay, got it all figured out. I got my 2 kids, whatever. Then God threw me a curveball. So I got pregnant, and I miscarried, and I got pregnant again, and I miscarried again. And this was in November. So in November, not this past November, a few years ago. In November, I always think about fertility, and I think about how humbling that experience was to have 2 back-to-back miscarriages. And yeah, I want to speak about this topic with empathy and sensitivity. Like, I don't know your story, and whoever's watching this right now, and I don't know where you're at with these things. I'm just sharing my story and just kind of how it affected me. So just keep that in mind. My heart's in the right place, even if my words come out like word vomit. So after those miscarriages, it just kind of shook me, because I realized something. I realized that, oh man, like this fertility thing, it's not really up to me. Like, I have all these tools and resources and knowledge about how it all works. And, you know, we live in the 21st century, but at the end of the day, like, it's in cooperation with God. And that just really hit home at that time. It hit home that, yeah, it's up to him. And then I got pregnant again. And so, of course, I'm like, all right, probably gonna miscarry, because I literally miscarried back to back. And if you want to hear that story, I got a video about the miscarriages. So I was just kind of humbled, and I didn't know what was going to happen with this pregnancy, the third, you know, with Sebastian. Spoiler alert. So I felt a new sense of surrender that I had never felt before, except a little bit of that I felt with my second child when he was breech presentation. That's another story. But I felt like a complete and total surrender. Like, God, this is your baby. Like, thank you for entrusting this beautiful gift to me, but this is your baby that I am a steward of. And it just completely changed my perspective about kids and about pregnancy. And I saw it more as like a gift that was bestowed on me that wasn't really like in my power, even though I have the know-how to manipulate variables. Does this make sense? Like, you have to be in cooperation, but it's really God giving it to you. Don't know if that makes any sense. So that really, yeah, that was very profound at the time. And I decided, because of this surrender, this kind of surrender attitude that I was having with this pregnancy, we weren't gonna find out the gender. We decided to do a home birth, like just different things that kind of were symbolic of this surrender to God. And it was just really, it was really beautiful for us and very healing. So after all that experience, like, we did abandon NFP, and we were never really actively NFPing, but we don't even chart anymore, because since we don't have any, what are they called, grave circumstances, we're just like, all right, God, like, whatever you want from us, not just with babies, but like with life, like, give it to us, like, thank you. So that's kind of how I came to have peace with fertility. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect or that there aren't days that I'm not pulling my hair out, because kids make you crazy. But yeah, anyway, I see there's a few of you on here, but I don't see the chat. So if you want to announce yourself and chime in about fertility, NFP, about like just different attitudes you've had. But that's basically my story. Now, another thing that I think is worth mentioning is okay, so you have a baby, and then you have like this stage, oh, thank you. You have like this stage where your body's healing, right? Like maybe you're losing the baby weight, or maybe your hormones are going back to baseline. So I think that's worth mentioning, and I know that a lot of women get pregnant during that time, and that can be extremely frustrating for those that are like, I don't feel like I'm ready to have another baby. My personal fertility is not that quick of a turnover, and I think it's because I breastfeed on demand, like until into toddlerhood. Like there's never a schedule, and I think that has a lot to do with it, but I know everybody's different. So that can be frustrating if like you're not ready, but I think just relying on God's grace and, you know, just pray that you want it and that you're humbled, even if you don't feel it. So, yeah. Anything else? Let's see. Yeah, there can be a lot of fruit from taking on something difficult. There can be a lot of fruit from taking on, you know, the pain of being pregnant, like literally like fruit. There's fruit from taking on, you know, that lack of a baby, and there can be fruit if you allow it to be used that way. There can also be a lot of ugliness if you allow that ugliness to grow in you. So for me, it's been really important to keep my mindset on that. Yeah. And yeah, and you said it must be wonderful to have children. You don't have any. I do love having children, and I can't speak from a place of understanding. Like, I don't know what it's like to not have children. I know I have a lot of friends that are in that boat, but it is lovely to have children. They're quite nice. Any other questions before I sign off of here? I just wanted to share my story a little bit, and I hope you guys are doing very well, and we will see you soon. All right, bye.